welcome everybody. Okay, so there's loads of people in the chat already. I'm going to quickly go over the... we'll go through the group in a minute, actually. We're going to first of all talk about topics. So we've had a load of people send us questions and topics for us to go over. If you want to do this for future shows, there's a link in the description below, which you can click after the show. It might even do it now without kicking you out of the chat, I don't know. So you can have it up for afterwards. But you can suggest topics and questions for all of our future videos that we do. So it's just another reminder. It's easier than us going through all the comments and collating them if you send them all to one place. So that would be a massive help for future stuff. Right, we're going to go over who's in the chat. We've got Michelangelo.
Hello.
We have Mr. Phil, the beautiful beard himself.
Hello.
We have Rachel and Dave, and they're both downstairs at the moment, looking very smug.
Hey guys.
So Dave hasn't joined us on a live chat before, but he is here. And Rachel is, as always. So there's going to be 5 of us. We're going to go straight into a roundup. Actually, you know what? We'll go through everyone in the chat because there's 29 people watching. Who have we got? We've got Steve Forrest, Oric Lovegod, Wargaming Wizard, Neil Young, Al Wood, Al Wood's Modelling Mayhem, Sean Dewitt, Jonathan Shaw, Moggy's Miniatures, Rattel Mike, Coranis, the Johnsonator, Madhead Mike, ADZ or ADZ Hintoa, and Ashley Perkins. So we've got quite a lot of people already in. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for showing up. Ashley Perkins are you doing your blab hand again there, Phil? It looked like you would go blah, 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 blah.
No, I was waving.
Listening to WGO while doing Heroic Night Hold. Oh, I was thinking, is that a miniatures thing? But that's Warcraft. Another Wednesday night raiding, definitely, Ashley. Okay, so what are we going to do first of all? Phil, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, lots. I'm going to go in reverse order. I finally started working on my Sigmar Showdown model, as in started properly working on it, as in getting painted and stuff like that. But that was in the last 12 hours. Prior to that, it's all been about Armageddon scenery. So I'm doing a rough cut series on this, which I think one went up on the Facebook and there's another one ready to go up as well, but we'll put those up on YouTube as well. So I'm at the wash stage. So lots and lots of painting, lots and lots of building. I'm absolutely blown away by this kit. I don't think it's humanly possible to buy too much of this scenery. I think if you had like 40 of them, you'd be happy. So, yeah, lots of silver. Then I've gone with yellow so I can get lots of nice weathering and a few hazard stripes and all those kind of things because I want a very industrial look. And yeah, and also finally got around to using Forge World metallics for the first time, the airbrush metallics. And yeah, I have to say, I fell a little bit in love with those as well. Although we've got some more to be trying out, but I was really impressed with those. You know, sometimes you kind of buy the airbrush paints and they don't always work, but they were straight out the bottle, straight into the brush, and off they went. So I was really pleased with them.
Well, there's Moggy's Miniatures in particular. He's really fond of the Forge World metallic paints, just from seeing what he uses.
Yes.
They're definitely a good range of metallics, and I've never seen too many bad things about Forge World paints. And you've got the Vallejo ones to try next. I know a lot of people have said the Model Air range isn't as consistent, but you've got the newer metallic paints that they've brought out recently, so they'll be worth looking into. But no, it's looking good. You did all those last night as well, didn't you? The industrial pieces.
Did, yeah. And I have to say, I've fallen in love with my plasma obliterator. It's just huge and big gun. So I'm really, really hoping we get rules in 8th edition for that, because I'll be a little bit sad if I can't blow things away with my plasma obliterator.
I'm sure we can work out something equivalent if they don't. Right, we've got what we've got in the chat. Oric Lovegod says they've turned Phil into a mime. He's trapped in a box. I thought you said meme because Mythos, Wolf Brother Mythos, made a meme, didn't he, about you and
Maybe
your
it's because I was doing the whole.
Oric Lovegod's happy belated birthday, Sam. And from Frost and Fists, Mythos says, yes, a late happy birthday indeed. It was a great day. I just kind of chilled with Rachel. I think we watched... What did we watch? We watched Hacksaw Ridge. Was that what we did?
Yeah, we did actually. I forgot about that. That was a good film.
It was a good film about a medic in World War II. The Americans fighting the Japanese. Just basically giving me more ammo, as it is, to start bolt action. Danny Yates has joined us. Welcome, Danny Yates. Piper Malik, hello from across the pond. Hello, thank you. Neil Young, going to Warhammer World soon, may pick up some paints, forgot they existed. Yes, because they're not in Games Workshop stores, or I don't think they're in many Games Workshop stores, you do kind of forget that range is available. And unless you're doing a big order to Forge World or live locally, you won't be picking them up. So
I'm obsessed with certain colours when airbrush paints get released, because there's always some that are tricky. Metallics are always tricky. Whites and very pale greys, very tricky. And yellows. So anytime I go into anywhere that has airbrush paints, I'll always buy at least one metallic, a yellow and a white.
Just to try.
Because I think that's they're the real tricky paints to get right. And I have to say, at the moment, my go-to yellow, without a doubt, is the Forge World one, which is called Phalanx Yellow, and it is mind-blowing. I've never seen a yellow like that out of an airbrush. It's amazing. So do try them out. They're definitely worth it. I think Danny was saying it first, the GW paints. Yeah, they are. To be honest, they're good. They're good. I've had mixed results with the air range, though. But I think I had a bad pot of corn red, was it? It just really didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of
just had a bad pot.
Games Workshop paints, it's the Retributor Armour, the newer base range paint. Because Balthazar Gold was always my favourite gold, and when they released Retributor Armour, it's like painting butter. It spreads so nicely. Such a great paint. We'll quickly go over favourite metallics, actually, because my two are Warplock Bronze and Retributor. Mike, what's your favourite?
Ooh, I quite like Balthazar, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd used on most of my Eldar, so I stuck with that.
It's a good one. Dave?
Classic bolt gun.
Bolt gun metal. Lead Belcher. Or do you specifically
go
out
to... man with simple needs.
Do you specifically go out to find bolt gun metal? He's not listening.
What?
Does Dave buy Lead Belcher, or does he go back and buy bolt gun metal now?
Lead Belcher spray, but if I can get hold of bolt gun.
Okay, that's good. And then Phil, what's your favourite metallic paint up till now? Because Rachel doesn't paint, so we won't ask Rachel.
It has to be the new. Is it the? Oh, I can't remember. It's the Forge World Metallic Gold I've just used, and I've forgotten the name of it, even though I've talked about it just now. So the new Metallic Gold. I'll find out for you before this chat's over.
Okay, not Phalanx Gold, is it?
No, because it was the Phalanx Yellow. Was the yellow?
Then maybe.
No, I'll get back to you. I'll come back to you.
Okay, we've got some more stuff in the chat. We have a load of more people have turned up. We have Karanis. We have Green Stuff Games, Big Mech Dan School, Kiblams, Ryan Benfield, if I didn't just say that. I don't think I did. And there's a lot of people chatting away in there as well. Steel Salis. It seems promising, yeah. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about that. And Rattel Mike. Off topic, chaps, would you recommend on baseboards the GW ones or the mats from Game Mat EU? We've got some mats from Game Mat EU. They'll probably arrive towards the end of May. So we've got at least 3 mats on the way and some terrain. We're going to have a look at all of that. But we've got a bunch of the Games Workshop stuff as well. So we can't recommend either or yet. We're going to have a look at them and we'll see what we think. Matthias the Faithful, any thoughts on P3 paints? I've never used them myself. Has anybody here used P3 before?
Nope.
No.
No. Okay.
I have.
Phalanx Gold.
Phalanx Gold, yeah. So it was that. Yeah. Nice. Doc's joined us. JP Lavin joined us. Akiria, Matthew Pink. I'm not going to read that one out. I almost did as well. I almost did. Matthew Pink, Forge World prices. You are literally painting gold onto your models. It makes them worth it so much more. John Booth.
£18 for a set of 5 paints. I disagree. £18 for a set of 5 paints.
Jonathan Pritchard has joined, and they're all talking about paints. Okay, so you've done your Sigmar Showdown. Rachel, what hobby have you done this week?
Who, me?
No, the other Rachel sat next to you.
I haven't done any hobby, but we have found a new game, haven't we? that we've been playing since Dave's come to stay with us for a couple of days.
Oh,
we're-
it's not.
What?
It's not wargaming related though.
I'm still going to talk about it.
Okay.
So we've
Yeah, that's fine.
it's against the rules, Phil.
Go on. What is it?
No, you're good. You're good. You make the rules. You're the MD.
So yeah, we found a game called Dice Masters, and actually we're loving that at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I'm playing the D&D set, and I think Dave's playing. You doing Marvel at the moment?
Marvel.
And I think Sam, you doing DC.
DC. Yeah.
So we're just getting into that, and it's a bit of a mix between if you played Magic the Gathering and Dominion. It kind of meets the two, where you've essentially got to like build your deck as you're going along, or in this case, put your dice together so that you've got to sort of think on your feet and react to what your opponent's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good fun. So that's probably the most sort of hobbying that I've done this week.
Okay. And Dave, you've been doing the same, really. I think you, me, and Rachel have all been playing Dice Masters, haven't we? You've got quite addicted to it.
Well, I assembled the Wild West Exodus stuff last week, which I posted up.
Yeah.
You see, and I was absolutely amazed by that. The detail.
Where did you post it, Dave?
Thursday, Friday.
Where did you post it?
Where? It doesn't matter.
No, where?
On the Wargamer Online community Facebook page.
That sounds interesting. Maybe we should all go and have a look at that.
No.
Not right now, though.
If you're not on the Facebook pages, I think most people are now. But if you aren't, just Facebook, search for Wargamer Online Community, and you can request to join. Somebody will accept you, and you can post away, and you can see all of Dave's lovely Exodus, Wild West Exodus stuff.
In Belfast at the moment, soon to be painted.
Yes. And before we go on to the rest of the comments, and I try and catch up, we're going to go on to Mike. What have you been doing this week?
Sigmar Showdown. Finally getting more done on it. I think might have been last week. I think it was still adding some green stuff and that to it. So I'm finally getting paint on it now. I'm on the final stages now of highlighting. So what I might do after the chat is post up on the community page for everyone to have a look at. But the other thing I was thinking, and this is going to go out to the community, story for it. So what I'm hoping will happen is if I post a picture of my Sigmar Showdown, is that maybe you guys can come up with a story for it.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right then.
Sam disagrees.
Just because I didn't say something, I was leaving it open. I've already said he doesn't need a story. He doesn't have to have a story. He can just make a really cool model and stick it up. If you want to make a story, that's fine. But if anybody wants to make a background narrative for Mike's Gladiator Rat model, then feel free. Put that on the Facebook page as well. Okay, so that's awesome. Going on to Sigmar Showdown, actually, it ends this Saturday. So if you have done an entry, go on to the website. I'll put that link in afterwards. But there's another link where you can actually post up your final pictures. Or if you put them on the Facebook page and just link me in and tell me that it's the final ones, I'll copy them to my desktop and then I'll sort something out. We'll do a separate show on everybody who has entered Sigmar Showdown and go through everyone's pictures that have been posted. And also sort out a winner and some prizes, because there's some good stuff for that. Right, so let's get through the chat. Danny Yates is talking about 8th edition sounding phenomenal, which it is, and we're definitely going to go into that in a moment after some of the topics or in between. Matthew Pink said, what hobby have I been doing for Rachel this week? I am working on Stegodons. So these are airbrushed by Phil. He's done all the base coats, and I'm just picking out the rest of the base colours and then washing them. So we've got a lovely big green Bastillodon thing. And then we've got there's thousands, there's 3,000 points to get through. So I'm having a little bit of a break from doing videos, as much videos this week. Phil's taken over on that side of things, and I'm doing some painting for Rachel.
Thanks, Sam.
No worries.
So just do another battle report then, so that'll be good fun.
Yeah, more battle reports, more lizard men, more Seraphon. Sorry, not lizard men. Right, Brandon Struthers, caught you guys live again. Good stuff. Thank you for joining us. Should I order tikka masala or a butter chicken? There you go.
Tikka masala.
Oh, butter chicken, man.
No, you both
Tikka
are wrong. Both choices
Mike.
are wrong. It's all about the Balti.
Mike's gone. I vote tikka masala. He's not interested now. He's like, yeah, you didn't like my story. I'm gone. Oric Love God's put, I live less than 30 miles from Reaper. Reaper Master Series is still by my favourite. So yeah, it's mainly, I think, paints are wherever you can pick them up from, and whatever works for you, just stick with them. Katie Hunter is tuning in. Katie McCramps here saying hey again from Canada. Thank you for joining us, Katie.
Hey.
John Snater says good idea, but lazy Mike. He's working on the painting rather than the story. He's got an excuse. Ratty McRatface. I think that was the name for the rat that Mike ripped the arms off to then make his entry. Was it not, Mike?
Mr. Ratworth, I think you named it.
Oh, Mr. Ratworth. I knew it was similar. Big McDan Skull is hoping to get some paint on his entry tomorrow. Oh God, there's loads. There's loads. So much. Ends at the beginning of Saturday or at the end?
Does it end at the beginning of Saturday or the end of Saturday, Frost and Fist? It's the end of Saturday. It's always the end. It's the very end. And it's your end, as in American end. Unlike that bet, that's what you leave me off with.
Right, we'll pick up. I reckon we'll do the voting. We'll find out how we're going to pick the winner, and we might even leave that till Sunday or Monday, just in case there's a couple of late entries, just to allow for American time and UK time to sync up.
Other countries are available to enter.
Mm-hmm.
They don't catch up.
Okay, Star Wars Day tomorrow. This is true. I think we should all have a celebration. Well, we will have a celebration. Right, we're done with talking about that. Let's go on to topics. So we've got some that, like Rachel. What was that? Squeakiness.
Nothing. Carry on, Sam.
Right, let's start with. This is one by Rachel, and then we'll do one from the community, and then we'll come back to one from Mike or whoever. So Rachel asked what was our favourite Wargamer Online video so far. So we've been going for about just over 3 months now, I'd say. This is our 12th chat, so that's 3 months worth of chats, and we did them when we started our YouTube journey. So 3 months worth of videos, what is our favourite? And I think there's going to be a few of us that are going to have similar ones, because my favourite is... no, Rachel, what's your favourite?
It's because you know that mine and yours are going to be the same.
Yeah.
Mine is 100% the bloopers, just because like the channel looks great, it's really professional. Then I just absolutely love the bloopers that just shows all the chaos behind the scenes. So whenever I used to get a box set, I'd always go straight to, like, you know how they did like the gag reel at the end of the series, and it's basically just them showing all like the outtakes and where it all went wrong, and basically them just having a laugh. And I used to love that. And I think Phil sort of joked about it, didn't he? He was like, oh, we should, put all of our outtakes together and make a film out of it. And that's what you did. And I just think it's hilarious. So if you haven't checked that out, you definitely need to. It's basically just a gag reel of all the behind the scenes kind of stuff, all the stuff that didn't make it into battle reports and into chats. And if you've got a premium account as well, then actually there's an extended version under the premium content. If you've got a premium account, just go straight to that and watch the extended version, because it's really funny.
And I was quite surprised, actually, because the blooper one was probably my favourite video as well. It's definitely the most fun to edit, because there's so much which I had to cut out, even from the bloopers. So that can't go in. That definitely can't go in. So once I'd made the blooper video, I think Mike heard it about 30,000 times because of all the cutting and editing I had to do to it. But it was by far my favourite, and I don't think many people have seen it. I think it's only had like 200 or 300 views. But I think if I could pick one video, maybe we just have that as our channel trailer. We just chuck the bloopers up there, because I've still got to sort out a channel trailer, and I think bloopers will just, sweat.
Yeah, just do it.
Mike, what was your favourite?
Bloopers would have been up there, but I'm going to go with the first battle report that I was involved with, because it was a new experience of actually recording something. So I think it might have been one of the first videos that I'd done with the channel.
Yeah.
So that was the Eldar versus Word Bearers against you. So that was quite a bit of fun. So I'd say that's probably my favourite.
That's good. It was an interesting one, because it's learning how to use the camera and do the battle report recording. We've got loads to learn.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Dave, favourite?
I haven't ever been in one, but my favourite to watch is also a premium one. It was the one between you and Matt Pink.
Oh, the premium, yeah.
The Khorne versus your orcs.
No spoilers. But it was good, wasn't it?
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I tried to word that without spoilers, though.
No spoilers, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, the one that we filmed at the very, very beginning that will never make it onto the screen, you'll never see it, but it was absolutely chaos trying to get those cameras right at the very, very beginning, if you remember.
I can't remember.
It was like
Was
a
it
proper
Horus?
year ago. Me and you played a game to look how we could use cameras.
Oh,
It
okay.
was just hours of me and you moaning at each other. It was
I
amazing.
remember that. You two were just bickering about like a centimetre, weren't you?
Oh, that one. I do remember
Yeah.
that now. Yeah. Phil,
We
I think
deleted
Phil
that
watched that
footage.
back.
I think actually that's where the blooper idea came from, because I'm sure Phil sort of watched it back and he was like, actually, that is hilarious. We can't use it for real content, but that is hilarious. And I think that's when he sort of joked about it and said we need to just cut a load of those sort of scenes up and put it into something.
Definitely.
There was about a 20-minute section over whether a millimetre is a subdivision of an inch. Because they were arguing over something was 6 inch and 1 millimetre away. And Sam was arguing a millimetre is a different measurement system to an inch, and therefore he was in range. It was just brilliant. It was just priceless.
It was more that the whole game, like Dave would be like 3 or 4 inches out from charging, and he got down, and I'd be like, yeah, you know, whatever, or an inch away, you know, even down to an inch. Yeah, go on, Dave, let's just do it. That's fine. Charging in, have the combat. Got to my turn again. Oh, I'm a couple of millimeters out. Can't do it. And I'm like, really? Like you've had inches here, like you've had all sorts. But I can't millimeters. No, and then it was just a disagreement about that. Most of our games are me saying, "Yeah, let's just play it as equals," and then it gets switched. Like Mike says, let's just have a challenge in the middle of the game. Yeah, okay, let's. I'll run towards the middle of the board for you. We're going to fight it out, and then Mike goes, "No, I'm not doing that. Actually, I'm just going to blow you to pieces."
Well, that was a tactical move. That was.
Yeah, it's called betrayal. That was betrayal, Mike.
Sam, I think you need to stop being nice in games. It's clearly not working well.
Stop
for
being
you.
nice. Yeah.
Not
Right.
reciprocated.
Betrayal by the enemy.
Trial by fire, more like. We've got some more answers in here. We have Auric Lovegod says the Rachel versus Sam Slugfest is one of my favourites. That's the new name for me, Slam. Big McDanskull, love the bloopers. Tabletop War James has joined us. Welcome. Thank you for joining. What else have we got? Sam Bicker, surely not. No, I don't bicker. I just, yeah. Okay. Right, next question. Which topic shall we go to now? I'm not even going to do these in order anymore.
Nobody wants to know what my favourite video is.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go on.
So many.
I've got 2.
It's okay.
One is the How to Paint Putrid Blight King, and 2 reasons. One, I really like that. It's one of the tutorials on. Is that a premium one? I think it is actually. So it's because it's a full tutorial, so that's a premium one. And the reason I like it is a friend of mine signed up to the website who has nothing to do with the hobby, and texted me at like 4 a.m. saying, "Just watching How to Paint Putrid Blight King. Just to be clear, what is a putrid Blight King?" So, and he just like sits and watches all your painting tutorials at night. It's a bit strange. And then the other one is the live chat, which we went on with that night when there was about 7 or 8 of us. It felt like 100 of us to discuss the kind of launch of the 8th edition, and we were all shattered after Salute, and you'd been up all night editing videos, so it was one of those. But it was one of those perfect storms. I think we were all kind of in a weird, tired place, but we got really, really excited about 8th edition, and that energy sort of translated, I think, into the video. And we just got lots and lots of people just in the same space at the same time, and it was just a lot of fun. Everyone was just like, "Yeah, we're ready for this." So it was really good. I enjoyed that.
Pretty hyped. I mean, El Marco's just asked, new Marines hinted by the recent GW video. What are your thoughts on this? We'll go over this one, actually.
Yeah.
But my thoughts, immediately, Rachel, I think me and Rachel just woke up, and I was saying, like, let's watch this video. This is the next teaser trailer for the 8th edition launch, and I got goosebumps. Like I absolutely loved the part when he's like, we're doing the Indomitus Crusade. We're now going to go around the galaxy and purge all of these mutants. I like how they're not going to purge Xenos, because obviously they're working with them now. But mutants and traitors and, was it heretics? There's 3 other things. They were all fair game. But with the new Marines, I'm really excited. I want them to be a whole new faction, rather than just a unit upgrade that other Space Marines can have for their armies. So I'm really interested to see what they do. If it's a whole faction, I will do that faction. If it's just a unit upgrade, I'll see. we'll talk about that later because we've got another question on 40k armies for 8th edition. But what were your thoughts, Mike?
I'm excited because there was a picture that went up. It looked like it was what will be the intro set for 8th, wasn't there? And it looked like there were some big models towards the background, and they definitely look like they're quite a bit bigger than a normal Marine, if that is what they are.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm not going to go too much into it because of the question later on. But yeah, I'm happy.
Anyway, Phil?
I'm pretty excited about them. I think that's where I sit. Partly because if this is the creep to true scale Marines, I'm quite happy. It's one of the little tiny niggles that has probably held me back from doing a Marine army. And when the Sigmar dudes came out, I was like, yeah, that's what Marines should look like. They should just be head and shoulder above the rest of the humans. And obviously for GW, it's a real challenge, isn't it? When are they going to do it? But I think obviously that this is probably a 10-year cycle now into true scale Marines, and we'll just see them kind of, hopefully, I believe, we'll see them replace some of the older models, which I know is hard for people when they've built armies up and stuff. That's okay. I saw somebody come up with a great idea: is take your 25mm base Marine and simply stick it on top of a 32mm base, and there you go. You've just given him a lift. But yeah, for me, I'm just happy because I want them to look massive and imposing. And it was surprising how much 32mm base achieved, actually, because it did make a difference, didn't it? It was like, wow, these guys they just look bigger. But yeah, so to see them as they're meant to be, these giants of the battlefield, I'll be quite happy from that point of view.
I like Auric Lovegod's just put, they just have a bigger chalk outline for my orcs. So they're just going to be a bigger kill hit. And then Steve's put, orcs can't use chalk. Nope. Dave and Rachel, you excited by new Space Marines?
Is that the one? Is that the video you linked me in?
The one where it's like there's a dude in the middle, I think it's Gilliman, and then he's like panning around a huge room where there's just loads of empty or loads of glass chambers or pods with these new super Space Marines inside them. So those.
Yeah, they did look super cool, to be fair. And I mean, I don't know much about 40k in general, but actually they did look pretty badass.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Dave?
For myself, I've not actually seen that trailer. I'm far more excited for the Chaos that's coming out.
Yeah.
Rather than the Marines, actually.
Okay.
I know everybody can look at me like that, but that's the way it is.
Okay, well, it will happen. We've got Akaria saying, is the WGO team going to Warhammer Fest? We are. We're going to Chill Fest on the Saturday, which is the Chilling Wargamers event up in Sheffield, and that is hosted by the Wargamer Viking and a bunch of other people.
Is it not ChillCon?
It's called Chill. What did I call it?
Chillfest.
Chillfest. ChillCon. There we go. There's an interview.
We can call the entire weekend Chillfest. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to Chillfest this weekend. When is it? May the 27th and 28th. And then on the Sunday, we're going to Warhammer Fest, and we will be seeing all of Games Workshop's awesome stuff and picking up a lot of. We're going to need to get some more money put aside, Rachel.
Yeah.
What else do we have? I love your hangouts. It's nice to sit and chill. That is the whole point of them. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. Thundercast Marines from Graceer. That's a cool name. Matt's put, does that have anything with Sam wanting to do Imperium? That trailer made me want to switch from Chaos to Imperium immediately. Ashley Perkins. Okay, there's another question there. So I might actually copy and paste that. I'm going to copy and paste that now before I forget. Oh, okay.
That helps.
We've got that one. Right. Before we go any further, do you want to go through some more topics, or shall we go through the roundup of 8th edition for the week?
Yeah, let's cover it. Let's do the 8th edition thing. Let's have a look at it, because we're getting a few questions now regarding 8th edition. No surprise. So let's cover a couple of bits of that. Just one thing that is it Acarius, I think. Acarius, maybe. Saying which video is this? Do you mean in terms of the video right now, which is our Wednesday night hangout, isn't it? Basically.
I think he's
Is that
referring
right?
to the edition video that we were talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got you. Just checking in case you're wondering what the hell he was watching.
Yeah.
She was watching.
If you haven't seen the video, you can go onto if you go on Google and just type in Warhammer Community and bring up their website, it will come up with all of their updates for 8th edition as like a summary, and it also had the teaser trailer for that video to watch. It will probably be on YouTube as well. So what's happened in 8th edition? What was the last bit we got up to on our videos? What did we talk about?
We covered psychics, didn't we, on the Friday chat?
Yes.
What was after psychics? I
Shooting.
can't remember because it's been that much now, isn't it?
Fight phase has been covered, hasn't it?
And the charge phase as
So
well.
we've had morale. Let's work in reverse order to a degree then, is it? Morale was today, wasn't it? Is that right? Or was morale yesterday?
Today's was morale, so that's working
Morale.
very much the same way as Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they've taken exactly the same mechanic as Age of Sigmar, isn't it? Which is you roll a d6, you add the number of models that have been removed from that unit that turn. And I say that turn because it will be that phase, won't it? So
Turn. It's at the end of the entire turn.
It's at the end of the entire turn, so shooting and combat could have quite a detrimental impact, especially if you've got a unit with a whole bunch of pistols.
Yeah.
We could see some quite devastating combats, couldn't we? So you add the d6 roll to the number of models slain, and if the number's bigger than the unit's leadership, the unit loses the difference in additional models. So leadership 6, you roll a 6, and you took 8 wounds or 8 models slain, then you're losing another 8. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is so that's the same mechanic, which I utterly didn't like in Age of Sigmar for about 2 games, and then I just realised I think in between those 2 games and then going back to my 3rd game, I had a game of 40k, and I had 2 units suffer from morale and start to retreat. And then I realised what a pain it is to be moving your models backwards across the board. It just takes time, and you have to kind of rally them and all the rest. And then I utterly love the rule then. It's just so swift. You just get on with the game then. Yeah. But there was an interesting bit in the rumour as well. A Dark Apostle, for instance, can loan his leadership to a unit nearby. So you can have units with low leaderships, but that can take some inspiration from a mighty leader nearby, which is good. Because, when you start rocking leadership 10, and remember, we're no longer capped at 10. So are we going to see some leadership 12s or leadership 13s or leadership 15s, which is effectively making you more or less fearless? Would be interesting, wouldn't it? And the other thing, and of course, as an Eldar player, I was interested in the Hemlock Wraith Fighter might indeed once again have a role on the battlefield. Because if anybody is within 12 inch of the fighter, their leadership is reduced by 1, which doesn't sound a lot, but if you can park the flyer over the top of 2 or 3 units and then pop a few shots in there, that's 1 more model lost off each one of those units just for the location of the flyer. So that's actually quite good, Yeah,
it just speeds the whole game up. To be honest, it speeds it all up. It's very easy to do as well, and it's much more thematic as well. And I love it. I love the Age of Sigmar morale system. I think it's a lot better. Somebody else has just said something. Ryan Benfield is the new morale is going to be odd as a guardsman because squads will just start to disappear. Hope there will be a way to reduce this. And I think stuff like the comm system. What was it called?
The orders.
The orders, not the orders. They've got their little communications in every squad.
Yeah, the Vox system.
Voxers, yeah. So their Vox system might play into making them either higher.
I think you're going to see commissars as well. I'd love to see a rule where, for instance, a commissar can simply intervene and you just remove 1 model, and then the rest stick around. So you lose 4, but then the commissar goes, no, let's just reduce that to 1 because he shot the first guy that started running. I
think. This is the thing when we're talking about that later on. We've got a question about 40k 8th edition, and Astra Militarum or Imperial Guard are one of the ones that I'm hoping might be on my list to do. But definitely going to include a whole load of commissars if that's how it works, just for the narrative side of things, with commissars blowing the rest of the guardsmen's brains out. Okay, anybody else Mike, Dave, Rachel, thinking about the way morale works. Rachel, what do you think about the morale system in Age of Sigmar? Because it's the same thing. How do you think that works?
I quite like it. Like you say, it can be pretty devastating. But no, I think it does work. But I'm quite lucky in that I play Seraphon, and pretty much all of them have Bravery 10, and you can boost them up to like 12. So I never actually see the negative side of it. I always see the positive. But from my point of view, I love it.
Yeah, I think potentially it would be more. You've got things like Death Guard. I think they're going to have really high leadership, or they won't be affected, because the idea is that they're not going to run from morale. They're fearless, effectively. Space Marines, I can imagine, will be the equivalent of Stormcast with leadership 10. Or Bravery 10, sorry, in Age of Sigmar, that's what it's called. But I can see some armies and factions having very high leadership. And I think there needs to be something like the Vox system in the Astra Militarum in order to make it fair, so you don't have 50-man blob units of conscripts running and Space Marines ignoring leadership completely. So it has to be balanced. Dave and...
element though, isn't it? Like, you've got to think about... In Age of Sigmar, you have to think about your bravery. Now you're going to have to think about your morale, and actually you're going to have to use that when you're playing the game. Like, say, if you're going up against something that's just going to wipe you out and you can lose potentially 5 or 6 models in one go, you're going to have to think how you're going to get around that and how you can boost morale.
Mm-hmm. And also, not every army needs to be great at everything. Some armies, like Skaven in Age of Sigmar, are rubbish in bravery, but they're great on a lot of other things. That's the whole point. You've got to have strengths and weaknesses all across the board. It can't just be every army as a copy. Otherwise, we may as well all just play... I know Phil always says it. Phil always says space, or is it Horus Heresy? He doesn't like Horus Heresy because it's Space Marines versus Space Marines, but there is a lot more to Horus Heresy than just Marines versus Marines.
I just do that to wind Luke up more than anything. It's basically space chess is what I call it.
Yeah.
Just want to say El Marco 1234 Imperial, great name by the way, said guard should be able to execute a single man. I'm not quite sure whether you put that in the chat before or after I said it, so good shout either way. He recommended a mechanic of maybe a 3-up and they stay, obviously losing a single man. I think anything like that would be great.
Mike and Dave?
There was another one from Danny Yates as well, which is
Never mind.
Marines supposed to be a super gene seed implant, isn't it? Yes, they are meant to be an additional faction, and we talked about that right back when the rumours first leaked. I picked up that little tip about saying not all chapters will accept having these super marines around either. Some will react badly to them and see them as some form of abomination, so you may not be able to field them with every faction as an ally. Maybe, who knows, we'll see. But certainly to start with, they're going to be more or less a separate faction or an elite option. I think we'll see them possibly as a separate faction, I'm calling it.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. We'll get Dave and Mike to talk about the next bit. Before we go on, we've got some more people telling me that I got my leadership wrong, which is more than fair enough. I haven't looked at all the stats. So Space Marines have got leadership 7, Terminators 8, and a Primarch is 10. So it's not as dramatic as I thought it would be. That's really good, and it means that it will be quite balanced. Thank you to everyone who is actually watching at the moment. If we don't get through your comments, we are reading them. But we do appreciate you joining the chat, and also everybody who has liked the video already and shared this around Facebook and their groups, because it all helps. Right, what's the next thing? So we've done morale. What was the next thing previous? It was the fight phase.
The one prior to the day before was the fight phase. So can anybody remember what that was? Do you want me to just give you a recap and then you and Dave can discuss it? Yeah. So I think the big thing was charging is still 2d6 inch. So that was, I think, a surprise for some people. A lot of people were kind of expecting some kind of move and a dice modifier. So your charge would be 7-inch for Eldar or something with the d6. But no, they've stuck with the 2d6. But you can activate a unit that activates gains a 3-inch move towards the closest enemy. These can be used to get within 1 inch of other enemy units. If you're cunning, dragging more foes into the melee. So the idea that the combats now can, to a degree, migrate around the board a little bit and drag other units into that combat, which is very much like that 3-inch move that you see with Sigmar, but you have to be within 3 inches to get dragged into the combat. They appear to say, maybe that's going to be the same rule, actually. You just can't go closer than 1 inch. So... once you have charged into combat, you automatically gain the initiative in that combat. So it doesn't matter how slow your model is, the fact they charge into combat, they're going to get the first attack. There's going to be some mechanics to be able to interrupt that. The couple they mention is, for instance, and what I'm particularly pleased about, Tyranids with Lash Whips and the Slaneshi Demons as well, for an example, so they can interrupt the sequence. But other than that, once those initial charge combats are done, initiatives are done, you then fall into activating one unit at a time, as we've seen in Sigmar. And I think that more or less covers the rumour. I'm just having a look now. I think that basically covers what we were told.
Okay, so Mike, any thoughts?
I like it because it sped everything up for Age of Sigmar with the combat being that way. But then the tactical side of it is being the activating different units. Like if you've been charged and your opponent decides to go first in that one combat, and you've taken heavy casualties, you know then that they can't get attacked again. So you may as well activate another unit from a different combat that might be on the other side of the board and try and get your attacks in first over there. So I quite like it.
It's interesting that they've done it that way, as in they've kind of got a priority phase in combat. So all of the chargers go first, then anybody who's using the command phase points or whatever they are, command points, get to activate those and then do that combat. And then there will be other abilities and things from certain factions on top of that. Once you've got your priority phase, it then goes into that activation thing. And the one thing that stood out to me was stuff that used to be really hard hitting, like Terminators with power fists and Orcs with power claws, that obviously were really slow, are now going to be, as long as they get that charge, they're going to be hitting first, which is going to absolutely destroy units, and it's going to mix it up, and it's going to reward all those people who just took power clawed Orcs and suffered getting killed, are now going to be hitting first, so it's going to be amazing.
It rebalances the whole by-phase aspect, doesn't it? It makes shooting and close combat a lot more even. And the thematics of being able to pull other units in just adds to the whole drama, because when you read these books, or all the books of Black Library, because I'm a huge Black Library fan, a lot of the stuff that I read is all about the close combat. And the fact that they can use bolters in close combat, they're adding that into the game, I think. The fact that as you're charging in, you're going to hit stuff on the way in. You're not going to jump into combat, wait to be hit, and then hit back. That never happens in a book.
Mm-hmm.
Was that an issue before? Was it quite unbalanced between like shooting and combat and psychic?
You're off the screen, Rachel.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Shooting was really powerful, and Mythos has just said that GW promised us that melee armies would be viable again. Multiple Overwatchers shooting pistols in close combat, making it unable to keep opponents tied up in combat. I feel line shooty armies are, but I think the idea behind it is they can't just buff combat armies.
Well, they've addressed that directly in the release. Actually, they say, and also just to say, I think it was Ashley says that 3-inch movement is in the pile and it's not during the charge phase. That's absolutely right. It's when you activate, you gain this extra 3-inch move, and this is the important point. You can use this to get within 1 inch. You can be used to get within 1 inch of other enemy units if you're cunning, dragging more foes into melee and preventing them from shooting the next turn, even if you didn't charge them directly, giving them no chance to overwatch. The enemy gun lines will need to be careful about how they position their supporting units as to avoid getting dragged into the fight. So standing 3 Tau units close to each other and getting charged in the middle, they may have that support fire rule, who knows? So let's take something else that doesn't. Eldar doesn't have a support fire rule. You charge the middle unit, you use the activation and the 3-inch move to spread out and drag the other 2 supporting units into combat. And then it's a real mess. You've just got 3 units tied in combat all of a sudden, who could be firing away. So I think they have tried to address that.
I was talking more about the balancing in general, though. So that's that rule, but Mythos was worried that close combat armies are still going to be outgunned and shooting armies will be more powerful.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to say, though, is, yeah, there still are shooting armies, but they're a way of locking the shooting up. You can stop them from shooting by migrating them into combat. I mean, I think that directly answers to that question.
It could be as well, though, that in combat you might destroy units quicker. In shooting, you've obviously got a chance to shoot stuff ahead of time, but in combat, they'll mop up so quickly that you've got that almost risk and reward thing, haven't you? They were saying that it means something now, slogging all the way across the battlefield to get into combat.
Well, yeah, you need to take into account what impact having the new morale rule is going to be, because it used to be if a unit just stood its ground, then it got all its attacks again next turn. If it ran away and it disappeared completely. But now we're going to see this middle ground. We're going to see a unit of 20 Guardians get charged. 8 of them go down in combat. Another 8 more to the morale. Leaving 4 left to swing their little tiny pistols around the next turn. So yeah, we'll see these units getting wiped out pretty quick in combat, I think.
Pink's just said, I don't think pulling in additional units will be that easy. You still have to move towards the nearest enemy model. I think it will. I mean, when you do your charging, you'd obviously try and get as close to that enemy unit as you possibly can, so that when you do your piling, you would then go towards it. I think it's going to be more tactical on getting your stuff into combat with what you want, but I think after a few games and you've worked it out, you'll pick it up, and it'll just be getting over that initial change.
Yeah, I mean, it does say, by the way, that obviously you have to move towards the closest enemy. I agree, but if you follow the Sigmar rules, sorry, Dave and Rachel, that's a very cute look, by the way, cutest couple on the internet. If you follow the Sigmar rule, it's only the first one that has to move to the closest model. You can then use the rest of the charge phase to spread out and set up that closest model piling.
I thought the 3-inch piling, is that not piling, where you have to go towards the closest model?
You do, but you don't necessarily have to go towards the closest model during the charge. So if you've rolled well on the charge, it's only the first model that goes towards the closest. So
that's what I'm saying. So in the charge, you in the charge phase, you make sure you pile around a unit. Then in the piling phase, that you go towards the closest model. So it's key that in the charge phase, you spread out if you're going to try and tangle up other units. And you've got to risk it at that point, because if they overwatch you when you're charging and you've spread out and you end up spreading too much and then losing stuff, you've got to think about that tactically as well. So there's a lot more to it than just charge in and kill and overwatch killing stuff. I think you've got to play a few games and we'll see it.
Katie Hunter says, please, no offense, but damn you nerds know your rules. The drocks at my local hobby shop don't even know what a Dark Eldar is. So well done, Rachel. Your rule knowledge is shining through now, along with Dave as well. That's the last I'm going to speak.
No, it's fine. It's clarifying rules, because we're reading a lot of stuff and there's so many rules back and forth, it's difficult to keep on top of them all. And afterwards we get a lot of comments saying that something's been said right or wrong or whatever, and there's always a bit of a debate on the way that they've been written as well. So it's good to talk about it on the chat rather than just in the comments afterwards. El Marco, strategy is high level. The main game, tactics is a subset of it. Activation puts a big focus on activation and away from the main game. What else have we got? Tabletop Wargames, plasma pistols in combat will be epic. Definitely. More OSL for me to do. Yes, you can definitely blast stuff with airbrush for longer. I'm expecting a lot of OSL coming out soon.
Thunderwolf Cavalry with hammers are going to hurt. They hurt anyway, but now they're striking when they slam in there. And let's face it, they survive Overwatch anyway. Well, they do if you arm them anything like Jack, which, each one of them carries about 4 shields each. Or at least it appears to, the way his saves rolls go.
I think Vengeful Jan has just chucked in a comment as well. I've not seen you before, thank you for joining. But if you're a melee army, you are probably going to be doing the most charges. You are doing most of your melee first, theoretically killing more units, and combined with morale, units will die in one turn. And that's what we're going to see. It's going to be devastating. And once you get out of that combat, you're going to have to find some cover before the rest of the army just turns and starts shooting things. Otherwise, it'll be a last samurai model.
Anybody with 3-inch piles should seek medical attention as well.
Matt's put, one boost is that I don't think it says Overwatch casualties come off the front, so you need to see the rules properly. But yeah, that's fair enough. Henry Armstrong has joined us. Thank you, Henry, for joining. Right. Why can't they just release the edition now? Yeah, we're all desperate for it. We're all desperate. What should we go on to? Is there any more 8th edition that we didn't cover? Because there's the charge phase, but it's pretty much what we've just done in it, fight and charge. And yeah. Let's get back on some topics. Now, Mythos has said, are there any armies you hate playing against with a burning passion? We answered this, I think, last week's chat or the week before. Me, Phil, and Mike as well, I think. Didn't you answer this one?
I think so. I can't remember what it was at the time because I tend to change what I hate playing against.
Okay. What's your current hate? What's your current army that you hate playing against?
I'm
It could
trying to
be
think.
either or. Age of Sigmar or 40k.
Ooh. Well, I haven't been against your orcs yet, but I imagine I'm going to hate that in Age of Sigmar. But I'm trying to remember what it was in 40k now. Oh, come back to me. Let me have a think
Dave.
about it.
In 40k, it's definitely the fish people, the Tau.
Tau. Okay, you can't say fish people.
Okay, I can't say fish people.
I got told off by Phil.
I might offend somebody. Sorry if I offended you.
The mighty and noble Tau.
Yeah, I don't like the Tau in 40k. 30k, I actually hate Iron Warriors because they don't run anywhere when you shoot them.
Yeah.
And I'm all like shooting 30k.
Yeah, and they just sit back and just blow everything to pieces, don't they, with las cannons?
I can't do anything about it. Try shooting
Rachel,
him.
Rachel, what's yours? Don't say one of Dave's armies because he's sitting next to you.
I've never played anyone in 40.
Age of Sigmar then?
Oh, is it Sigmar?
Yeah, anything.
I must admit, Phil's little bow people that he had in his Sylvaneth, he had like these sniper things.
So you're targeting an individual unit now. This is harsh. So not even an army, just specifically.
My little bow people. That's brilliant. I mean, for starters, they're big, but I love it. But they're little compared to like you, or certainly me as well. But, yeah. You meet the Kernoff hunters in the Sylvaneth army. Yeah, they are filthy, and I apologise for using them. I'll never use them again.
She's only threatened because they snipe heroes and she loves Croak.
Yeah. Pink really enjoyed playing against my Sylvaneth the other day as well. No spoilers, but he particularly enjoyed the Kernoff hunters.
We've got that battle report. Hopefully that will be this Sunday or the following Sunday.
Yes, I'm working on it. We'll definitely try and get it out. It's I did two outings of my Sylvaneth with a slightly changed list between the two because it was only 1,000 points. There's not a lot you can do to move things around, but it was they were fun games.
Have to do 1,500 so you can fit a Lariel in.
1850.
1850, yeah, we'll do it. Wordforge Games has joined the chat, so I believe that will be Mark. So he's just shouted Dice Masters, and that's because we've spent the last couple of days there buying Dice Masters. Thank you, Mark, for giving us another addiction.
Yeah, that nugget.
Yeah.
I remembered what it was now.
Go on, what was yours?
It was Marines because of Vindicators.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so you don't need to go back and find out. It was all.
I love it when Mike wakes up. He just, what?
Icaria's put hashtag Fish Lives Matter. There you go, Dave. That's why you don't call them fish. They are fish. All of their tanks are named after fish and sea creatures. Like the devilfish, like the manta, like the sky ray. Although I don't know if that's a fish or that's just an add-on to the rays.
There is a ray.
Is it called a sky ray though?
Like a sting. Well, no, it's called like a stingray, but
yeah, it's not. But like manta, there is a manta.
Yeah.
I'm interested. If there is a thing called a sky ray in real life, I want to know. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
There's another fish called Battlesuit as well, isn't there? That's awesome fish.
Really tasty with butter and garlic.
Why'd you have to bully me? We're not even at the end yet. Although it is coming up to an hour, we've just been going and going. We'll leave the bullying until the end. I'll let you know when that can commence. What else we got? Frost and Fist says, I'm a Dave fan now. There you go, Dave, you've got a fan.
Hashtag
12 Neef is here. I'm late, but here. Not a problem. Thank you for joining us. And Wordforge Games says, it is I. So it is Mark. Obsiorisis? I can't even pronounce that. Hate Zinch the most in 40k and Sigmar. There you go. You can just generalise and just say, I hate Zinch. Steve
I like
saying...
having both game systems as well. Yeah. That's great, that is. That's proper dedication.
Steve saying 1850 defo game for that, Phil. So Steve still wanted to do his death matchup in the battle report.
With like 8, yeah.
And I think Wargaming Wizard is off. See you later, buddy. Piranha, Tiger Shark. Here we go. We've got everybody. Piranha, Hammerhead, Tiger Shark, Tetra, Remora, Orca. Although that's a mammal, not a fish. All right, we want a list of all of the Tau stuff. Anything that is not human or is heretic, purge. There we go. All right, so that's that lovely question. I think we should go on to... shall we talk about our 8th edition armies, what we're thinking of doing? Because that's something that James has asked.
Yeah.
I'm still not committed, so I'm pretty wishy-washy on that. So he's asked, what army are each of you going to be expanding or starting for 8th edition? Pink's just put Purge or the Dolphins. Harsh. Dolphins will rule the world. I'm stuck now as I've found a lot of unbuilt Blood Angels, but also like the look of Raptors chapter. So, Mike, what are you starting for 8th edition?
Ultramarines. I'm going to take that plunge now, because that was the thing, was when I got into the hobby, I wanted to avoid doing Marines just because that seemed to be what everybody was doing. So that's why I picked up the Eldar. But I think with us starting new armies for 8th, I'm going to take that plunge and do Ultramarines.
Yeah, and you've got a really cool plan.
Especially now that, and now Dreadnoughts being worth taking as well. I think I might have a couple of them in there.
Definitely, and it's going to look awesome. The stuff for 8th edition, so for Wargamer Online, we're doing the Tale of Warlords. We don't know if we're going to call it that. It might be that. It might be something completely different. But we're effectively going to get 4 to 6 people. We're all going to commit to a brand new army for 8th edition, and we're going to do the build. It might not be a long build because we don't want to drag it out and do like 10 weeks of building logs. I think we may end up just doing a month, and we'll do a 1,000-point army in a month, or we might do 6 weeks and we'll do 1,500 points or maybe 2,000 points if we can do it, and then we're going to do a bunch of games and playthroughs of 8th edition at the same time. So that's why we're all trying to pick brand new armies to start a new edition at the same time and log all of the progress. So Dave, are you starting a new 8th edition? I haven't spoke to you yet. I don't know if you're going to start a new one or continue one that you've already got.
I've got a lot of stuff already, but as I'm so easy to sell to whenever, by whoever, I reckon I want to start some Chaos, like I've already said. I want to go possibly Demons with Chaos Marine, depending on the Chaos Marines that come out.
Okay, so you're just going to hold off until you see what's available and then maybe pick it up.
Yeah. When we start, I'll go, right, let's just go to the shop and buy some of it and see what I come out with.
Drop 400 quid.
Pretty much.
Rachel.
I have no idea. I think for now I might be tempted just to use an army that we've already got, just to learn it and figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
I might base it a little bit around, because I love the flexibility of Seraphon, so I might look at what else marries up in that kind of way in 40k, so something that where you can just take lots of different stuff. I do tend to like having loads of choice and mixing up my list.
That's good, yeah, because you like having 2 of everything in an army, don't you?
Yeah, 3 if I'm lucky.
But the thing is, you're not doing the Tale of Warlords that we'll be doing, because it means I'll have 2 armies to do at the same time.
Exactly, which is why I think I'll probably end up, at least at first, sticking with just whatever we've got, just so I can learn the games, and then an army after I've got hang of that.
Okay. And then, Phil, what are you going to be starting for your 40k first 8th edition army?
Magnus. Gene Stealer Corps. Gene Stealer Corps and Magnus and the Thousand Sons, I think.
First army.
It's 2. Yeah, I will.
Well, it's 2 nights worth for you, isn't it, actually?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I've got Saturday and Sunday. I'm not quite sure which I'm going to do. It depends what paint's already in the airbrush. I dare say it will be Gene Stealer Corps, because I've got an idea for a brilliant conversion that will go, if I say so myself, that will go very nicely with the Armageddon terrain and the new tank, the new cranes and everything that came out.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for it. It will push me on to do that conversion. I'll get it done, get it excited, and then I will move on to Magnus.
Who?
I think. Possibly, though, I think before I move on to Thousand Sons 40k, I may go back to 30k Thousand Sons, because hopefully by then Young Magnus will be out. In fact, definitely by then Young Magnus will be out. So I want to get a 30,000 list done for playing. Strangely enough, predominantly I'd like to play Zone Mortalis with that 30,000 army.
So that's more stuff to look for the channel. And then mine, I haven't decided, so I'm not going to say anything yet. It's between potentially... I changed my mind. I'm like the wind. So it's going to be Astra Militarum or Chaos still. I've not fully committed to the Imperium, but I'm all on the fence. If they bring out these new Super Space Marines and they're a whole new faction, and I like the models, then I'm going to do a whole load of those. So I've not committed yet. I'm still on the fence. We've got some more questions or some more bits and pieces here. Vengeful Jans, but how do you think this new edition is going to welcome new players? I tried to join in around 5th, 6th edition and left because half of the army that I brought to a game got wiped out in turn 1. Real bad first experiences, and hopefully everything in the game will be a viable choice. So there's quite a bit there. And they've also put, I don't like walking into a store and having my list questioned. So I think a lot of that is going to disappear for 8th edition. I think you'll be able to use any unit you want, and everything will be viable from what we've heard so far, isn't it?
Yes, that's what.
That's how it's looking.
I was going to say was in terms of the list questioning, having the app which they're on about bringing out, that's going to solve all list questioning problems. Because it's all going to be in one place, easy to get to. Everybody's got a smartphone nowadays. You just show it across the table and you're done. That's going to be a cool.
It's whether you're on about list questioned as in they don't, you know, if somebody wants to check over your list. I think it's definitely with Age of Sigmar it's easier than it was in 8th edition Fantasy to check a list. It's so simple to look at a piece of paper, and even if you don't know the army, you can check the points, you can check your units, and you know what things have got upgrades and what don't. So it's very easy to look at a glance at an army list. In terms of somebody questioning your list saying that it's not going to be good enough, it's your army, do what you want. So I wouldn't worry about it.
I mean, looking at it, it does look like it's interesting the way they've done it. So they've made the game sort of simple in that it's easy to pick up from what I can see, but they have made it very tactical while actually playing it. So I think it's going to be a bit like Sigmar in that it's easy enough just to learn how to actually play the game as a game, but then it'll take a long time to get very good at that game and to be able to react to what your opponent's doing. So I haven't played 40k really. I mean, I tried a few games and I really struggled just getting into the rules because there was just so much going on. And obviously you guys all knew the rules already. You already knew what you were doing. You had your army. You're all very good at it. So it was actually quite difficult to be that person that comes and joins in halfway through. And even just knowing, obviously you'd built me a list, but I didn't know what anything did. So like things that had really good abilities, I'd just completely miss out on. I had no idea if that's what they did. And just reading the rules, you sort of look at it and it doesn't mean anything to you. So actually, I think realistically, I think this is going to be one of the easiest. From what I can tell, I think it should be quite easy to get into. And I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be great. I think that's the idea that GW is shifting to. Get as many new people into the hobby as possible. Because there will be people that leave the hobby and they need a way to replenish their ranks, as it is, to keep buying their stuff, because they are a business at the end of the day. So as much as we all love their products, they need to get new blood into it somehow, and having barriers into starting the game is definitely not a way to do that. We've got a lot of people saying about, oh no, Akari is saying, Rachel, get yourself the Dread Saurian again. People keep telling you to get that, and we haven't got a case big enough, so we're not getting one.
Oh, all about the cases.
It's all about the cases.
Nice to buy a case.
If anyone's watching this that supplies cases, please send us cases.
We bought 2 more cases last week. Phil came round a few days ago and was discussing the best solution for me to store these KR cases, because my wardrobe's full and it's getting to the point now where it's going to be across the entire ceiling. Just racks of KR cases like Phil's house has.
My Seraphim army is limited on what can fit into the cases.
Yeah, we got 2 more cases on the way. One's for the custodians and one's for all the Warhammer quests. So I'm going to need to buy more after that just to put a Dread Saurian in for you. What else have we got? Everything being viable is why people hated Sigmar. People couldn't math hammer other people's lists. I think that's a good thing. I think it's great to have options available, and the more you play, you eventually can figure out what is good against what, and you can learn strengths and weaknesses. But having every model line available to use is definitely a good thing for me. I think being limited in a codex to 3 or 4 choices is rubbish. Because Mike, you've had it before, haven't you? Where you've looked into a codex or an army book and you think, oh, I love those models, but I'm not too keen on how they play. Whereas now that's gone.
Yeah, well, that was always the problem I had if I take Fantasy Eighth for an example, I couldn't pick an army because I'd be looking at all the models. I like that. Right, what do I have to take for core? Oh, okay, that's out the window. And I'd spent me and you must have gone over lists for months for me to try and find something, and it was like, I can't do it. I'm just not going to do an army. And then Sigmar hit, and it's like, take what you want. It's like, I can have the army exactly how I want it to look now. And then as far as like for 40k, if there was still models that you wouldn't take because they just were naff, and that's going to open it up for anyone now when they come in. It's like, I've got these models I bought a long time ago because they look cool, but they're rubbish. Whereas now, if everything's viable, I can drag them out now and I can use them.
Yeah. Another barrier gone. Well done, GW.
There's a whole bunch of chat going through discussing 30k and how it'll be impacted, and I just want to come in because everybody's saying it will be around a while. It might not change. It's going to get its own rules. There was something that kind of creeped out into the internet world the other day that's worth mentioning on Warhammer Digital on the Age of Darkness Legions tablet edition. There's a section on the description that says Warhammer 40,000 has been updated soon and will be releasing updated rules for playing set games. Horus Heresy shortly after. The rules in this title won't be compatible with the updated version of 40k or the upcoming Horus Heresy rules. All of the great hobby content and background narrative will be as valid as ever. Of course, until the new Horus Heresy rules are released, you can continue to use the existing 40k rules for games set in Horus Heresy. So they're being very public in saying there is a new rule set, Horus Heresy, coming soon. Strangely enough, though, they don't really say whether it's going to be based on 40,000 or not, or whether it's going to be, whether it's based on 8th edition or 7th edition. All they say is there is a new 40k rule set coming, and they too will be releasing new rules for Horus Heresy.
They don't have to refund all the books that they've done in 7th edition currently, do they? So it's another bit of text. At least they're giving you warning on that. We've got more people joining. The Hairy Painter has joined. Hey guys, thank you for joining. Raven Guard for me, he's put. I think it's the same guy who's on our Facebook. I'm sure he's been on there and put up some very good topics in the past as well. Frost and Fist, I love Murderfang, but I never bought one because I've always seen them focused and dead in first turn, and I think that we've said this so many times. I think stuff isn't going to get wiped out in one go unless you're in combat, but you've got more than a turn then at least to move stuff around and not get wiped out. I think I might skip all the 30k chat then if you've already gone through that. So we've got Piper's, but everything is viable until somebody finds a Death Star unit that works. We still haven't found if independent characters and all that go in units yet, or have we? Have I just missed that?
Well, it doesn't with Sigmar, does it? So we'll see. I've not seen any mention of it now. They haven't covered characters, I don't think, unless somebody on the chat's going to prove us wrong.
Okay. Yeah, and Vengeful Jan's put, this game was never going to be easy to balance. That's GW's challenge. For open play, they probably won't care much. For more narrative and match play, there should be more balance, and that's what we're hoping is going to be the case. Okay, so that's caught up with a lot of the chat. Do you want to go through another topic, or shall we call it for tonight? What shall we do? What does everybody on the chat want, on the YouTube chat? Because everyone on the Hangout will stay regardless. We'll give it a bit. El Marcus put, indeed, it's the balance between promoting selling models and balancing the match play, and maybe not promoting everybody buying the same model, so that they don't sell 15,000 Magnuses and only one Kroot box. More, but I just got here. I like you guys. We'll do at least one.
The Hairy Painters asked about independent characters joining, and they said a preview is coming, so they're going to address characters shortly. That's good news. Everybody's wanting to know that, isn't it?
I think that's the big one, because it changed in Age of Sigmar. You know, your Kurnoth Hunters that Rachel was so scared of, they can pick out those independent characters. And obviously what will happen to the snipers that are currently in 40k, because they can choose who they put their wounds onto, and you've got your lookout sir and all that sort of stuff. I'm interested to see how all of that works. Right, let's pick another one. We have Adrian Binko has put, I think that might be Grace here on YouTube, I'm not sure. Have you lost interest in an army that you have collected because of some weird reason? So we'll start with Mike. Because I love putting him on the spot.
Mike.
Phil.
Oh, I hate when you do this.
We'll switch. Phil.
Yes, Dark Angels, and the weird reason was Sam.
Oh, thank you. The bullying has
Sam
commenced. We're getting towards the end of the chat.
Sam, you wanted to do a campaign, and you really, really convinced me Dark Angels were cool, and they are pretty cool, I admit. And I started building them, and I was getting all excited, and I was halfway through painting them, and you went, "I don't want to do that campaign anymore." And then I was like, oh, when I lost the urgency to get them done, and they've been in a little glass jar since. There you go.
Cheers,
What
Mike.
are they called? The Scions. Because I think we were looking at doing that's the one. We were looking at doing something with that, wasn't it? It was going to be Guard versus Nid, I think, and I think everyone just lost steam on getting stuff done. Although you might have actually finished all your stuff, Sam. I can't remember.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, well, I think you were the only one that finished everything, and I think just lost steam, and then that'll be the only thing that I think I've ever just chucked to one side in the end.
We've got more people. Chef has just joined the chat. I've not seen you before. Thank you for joining. Has put building objective markers. Please continue. Matthew Pink has put Sam went to sleep and woke up wanting to play another army. For me in particular, I'll do mine because it's everyone knows what I'm like. I am a butterfly for switching. I just fly around and I pick an army one day and the very next day I've sold it or thrown it away or given it away, and then I've started a new army. And when you say lost interest, Adrian, I don't think I've ever had an interest for longer than a couple of days. Iron Jaws was the last big commitment that I stuck to, and I'm aiming to get a bit better because I haven't sold the Iron Jaws yet. They're still in the wardrobe, so we'll see what 8th edition brings, but not in particular. There's no specific army I've lost interest. I would say it's all of them. Dave.
Tyranids. Because I realised how many Tyranids there were to build and undercoat.
So it's not a weird reason then, it's a motivational issue.
It was a motivational issue. It really was.
How many did you have?
I had quite a few. It was like £600 worth of stuff. And 2 games and stuff, and it was just, no, I'm over this already. It's laziness, maybe.
You've got a lot to get through as well. You've got to dabble in a little bit of everything, don't you?
Yeah.
Rachel, have you ever lost interest in an army? Motivation's not going to be a reason, is it? Because
not really, no. No, because the only 2 armies I've ever really had and played with was High Elves, but technically I didn't actually own the High Elves. I just used other people's models and things that weren't really models. And then Seraphon. So I'm obviously not going off to Seraphon anytime soon. I still love High Elves, but I just think I used to like the what were they? Were they Grey Knights?
Grey Knights,
no.
You've got them as well.
No, I can't remember the Temple. God, no, that's Seraphon. Anyway, there's a type of infantry that I really liked, but now because of the new
Phoenix Guard.
That's the Badger. Anyway, but now you're very limited on what you can take to actually use them as a battle line, so I probably wouldn't play with them anymore.
It's more because they haven't been updated. As soon as the elves get an update in Age of Sigmar...
No, don't tell me that. I'm committed to Seraphon. Everyone's painting my Seraphon.
I love that. I love that commitment. I'm committed to Seraphon. Everybody's painting my Seraphon. Don't make me change my mind, because that'll make me have to get everybody to paint a new army for me. What a struggle this is going to be. Phil, prepare the airbrush. There's some high elves on the way. Sam, get ready for some more sleepless nights. You're going to have some Phoenix Guard to get through. What a chore, Rachel.
Shite.
That's got to be, I'm getting a t-shirt. Phil, prepare the airbrush.
Well, it's only taken now anyway, so... No, I'm sticking with Seraphant.
Okay, yeah, for now till they release. I've said elves or humans are my next army for Age of Sigmar anyway. I've kind of bagsed those.
Oh, you could get
Which
elves.
ones?
That wouldn't stop me from playing your elves.
We are still on the whole, which army have you changed for a fickle reason? Yeah, have we just turned into a Rachel and Sam arguing over which army?
This isn't arguing. This is debating about who's going to paint next. What else have we got? How do you think?
We've had a few things on chat. Arachnia. We'll come to that.
Akari.
Lost interest in my massive Black Templars army after they were folded into the main codex. I hear that would be quite tragic because it feels like you lose the unique rules. Let's hope we see some of those coming back because it will be so simple for them to just release a few interesting, a deck of cards that enables you to just play that army in a different way.
And just
Science know when there is. Sorry, go on.
Having a faction book purely for Black Templars with all the themed rules and force organisation chart, which I think we are going to see a lot of. They've seen it work.
Yeah, let's hope we get those light releases that we saw in Sigmar. Let's hope they go back and do it because, you don't see huge model counts in some of those factions, but there's still a load of fun. Aurochs being a classic example of that.
Yeah.
Scions are nowhere near as cool as Kaskarin Stormtroopers.
Kazakins were amazing. The originals were Stormtroopers, and they were brilliant models. And then they brought out the Kazakin or Kazakins, and they were incredible. You got the proper nutcase-looking sergeant of the unit with the bald head that everyone painted beards on, because that was how they were painted by heavy metal. But they were awesome models.
Vengeful Jan, how do you think the narrative play is going to differ from match play? I've heard something along that units will cost points, but not their upgrades. There will be an asymmetrical object. Will there be an asymmetrical object?
That was the points we were talking about the other day. So for the narrative play, you'll have very broad point values. So it might be 100 points for 10 men or something. And that will just be very broad. And you don't pay for your upgrades. You just get those 10 guys, you put on whichever weapons and upgrades you want, and you play a game. When it comes to match play, it might be 120 points, 125 points. Then you pay 5 or 10 points for all your upgrades. So it's a bit more balanced, I'd say, and much more for the list builders that like to do that match tournament style play, or just have it a little bit more structured than a loose guideline. That's what we're going to see between the actual point differences.
I mean, we talked about that in one of the previous chats. That's as far as Sigmar goes, is you pay a price for a unit, don't you? So 40k's point of difference is to have a more granular point system when it gets into the match play, which it probably needs given the model count in the range as well. It's just too much open to abuse, the middle ground, if you're not having a semi-narrative game with someone.
And I'd be interested to see if Age of Sigmar ever goes that way as well. I think it will do. Once they see how it works in 8th edition, I can definitely see Age of Sigmar being upgraded to having that matched play level of points. Because at the minute, there's nothing stopping you from taking 10 banners on 10 guys and sticking them on their backs and having all their weapons. I was saying to Pink the other day, why have you got 3 or 4 banners in a unit? And he's like, well, there's nothing saying. Any guy can have a banner. Whereas I just put one. I've got 2 choices of banner for my unit, and I put one of them on one of the guys for a squad of 10. And although I can do 10, I'm used to playing 8th edition fantasy where you are limited to 1 banner per unit. But that's the way that it's been done with the narrative style of army building. So I think that will change as well. Right, what else have we got? Dude, Cadians are literally everywhere. They weren't just based on Cadia. They are literally everywhere. They're like rats. What we talking about?
That's just some sadness about when they've been lost from the fluff, I think, as well. Which I agree. It's sad that same thing. I do Bealtan, and my craft world's just a bit of a mess right now.
Bit of a joke.
But I'm just going to create my own narrative around it. Surreal has $1,500 US dollars worth of Necrons still in boxes, primed up. Motivation is hard to find. I know what your motivation is called. It's called an airbrush.
No, it's called lead belcher in a can.
A can of lead belcher. And a breathing mask.
Plastic sword brethren would rock. Yes, they definitely would. The hairy painter. I've got 10 of them, which I was using in my Imperial Fist army for Heresy, just because they were Black Templars and I had Sigismund, but then I soon realised that I didn't actually need to use them. So they've just been chucked to one side. Multi-posed sword brethren. would be good. Frost and Fists has put, Phil does not need to prepare the airbrush. It stays on a quick draw holster at his belt. I like that. That should be the picture. It should be an image of Phil with some sort of hat on with his beard and then a holster with an airbrush in it. I think we've sorted it. We need an artist to design a t-shirt for that.
Ready. I'm ready to go. I've even extended the hose on my airbrush to be about 12 foot long now, so I can literally move around my hobby room and airbrush wherever I'm standing at any one time. And
there you go. And Pink's offering a Caria. I bought a set of Kazakin I've not used. Let me know at some point if you want to buy them at cost. Pink's always nice, isn't he? It's nice to see people just sorting everybody out in the community rather than trying to scalp them. What else have we got? To me, a 20-man tactical squad feels like a horde to paint, the Johnsonators. But yeah, that's what I feel like. I do elite armies just because everything else is a horde army. Phil is the master of horde armies. Mike's the master of elite armies, aren't you, Mike? With your wet blending eyeballs.
So again, sorry.
Doesn't matter. If you just woke up again. It's just like coming back out from hibernation.
Just checking what you said.
What time are we at? Is it worth rounding up now? And we are going to be back on in no less than 4 hours. So maybe we should be rounding up.
Yeah, we'll wrap up. Okay, so we've got in 4 hours' time. Me and Phil have been invited onto Wargamer Girl's channel. So she generally does a lot of Malifaux and War Machine and Horde, and not as much GW style gaming. But we're going to head over there at 1:30 a.m. UK time, which is going to be pretty late, but we're going to go over and we're going to have an awesome chat. We're going to join their live Google Hangout. So if anybody is up, or if you're up at that time anyway, because you live in America or Canada or wherever else in the world where it's suitable for you, then definitely pop over to Wargamer Girl's channel and check out that, basically. Thank you to everybody who has liked the video. Thank you to everybody who has joined us on the chat today. It's absolutely amazing. We can't say enough, actually, about our premium members on the website. Every time we come on, I think we've just got to say thank you, because every day there's more and more of you lot that are jumping on board the website, wargameronline.com. You're making free accounts, and we're seeing a massive amount of people switching over to making premium memberships. And it definitely is it's the only way that keeps us pumping out as much content as we're doing, really, doesn't it, Phil? And pays for all of the upgrades that we've been doing recently, so really appreciated, and we're more than happy to have everybody on board. Akari has put, will it be on YouTube? Yes, it will be on YouTube at 1:30 in the morning.
They may be referring... Oh, it's okay. I think that might have been an answer to a question before. Don't worry about it. Yes, it will be on YouTube.
Oh, okay. The airbrushing. Any suggestions where to learn to airbrush? Phil is going to do some videos for the Wargame Online site. Yes, it will be on YouTube. It will be on the website. It will be on YouTube. Phil's going to have a huge series on basics going up to advanced and maintenance of an airbrush and so on. Katie Hunter's put, I thank you on behalf of humans for the knowledge and entertainment. No problem, Katie. We're glad to be entertaining and knowledgeable from everybody else. Not me. Mine's just madness. Frost and Fitzgrace show. Yep, thank you for everybody who has joined us for that. Thanks to Harry Painter for sharing. Yeah, thanks Harry Painter for sharing your details on the page, and to anybody else as well. If you've got a wargaming, wait, what about the pick on Sam segment of the show? No, we've skipped it. We've skipped it. It's gone. What was I saying? Yeah, if you've got
we had real opportunity around the whole section of have you ever swapped an army, because I think, you know what, I tell you what, let's just do the rest of the chat quickly. Let's all name an army that Sam has swapped within about 2 minutes of starting. So I'll start Mechanicum. Dave? Necrons. Rachel?
The white ones, White Scars.
White Scars, good one. Mike?
Oh my god, Chaos.
Okay, I'm going to go again. Death Watch. Dave.
What was the guy on the he had like a wizard on a little disc? Zinch, was that?
Zinch, yeah. Mike.
Dark Angels.
Good call, Dark Angels. Dave, any more? Night Lords, thank you, Steve, on the chat there.
Briefly.
Dark Eldar, I think he did, or something.
Dark Eldar as well.
I don't know. Older or Dark
Yeah.
Eldar.
Dark Eldar,
And-
Night Lords,
and Eldar.
Mechanicum, Imperial Fists, Dwarves coming in from
Dwarves?
Steve there. Matthew says he never even unpacked his Death Watch, so that doesn't count. I think we need to say goodnight, don't we? So thank you for watching, everyone.
Thanks. Yeah, I was going to go over
And,
thanking everybody who's come on the Hangout as well, but I'm not going to bother now. So you've seen them. Cheers for them. Coming on. Cheers for Surreal for bringing that back up again, Imperial Knights. I haven't started. Oh, you know what? I have got Imperial Knights. I haven't started. But I haven't sold it yet, so I haven't got rid of it. Surreal's put, yeah, I hereby dub this the Snap on Sam segment. We could probably have a whole update on that. Right, thank you to everyone who's joined us on this wonderful evening. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video. Thank you to everybody who's gone to all of our older content and watched it. And thank you to everybody who has made a free account on the website. And thank you to everybody who has made a premium account or a premium subscription. We're going to go. We're going to be back on in a few hours. I might go and hibernate for an hour or two, and then we're going to be back on later. So have a good evening. We will be back on Friday for our Wargame Online next chat, I think. Mike,
Yes.
maybe. Mike's so
Oh,
quiet.
Yeah.
it's worth mentioning as well, because we are going on to Wargamer Girls channel. So if you're looking on our channel, you won't find
Are you
the video.
kidding
I
me?
know you've mentioned it. I'm just saying it again. I think it popped up.
Yes, Wargamer Girls.
Bye,
channel.
Sam.
Bye, everybody. See you
Bye,
later.
Bye all.
Bye, Phil.
Bye.
See ya.